There's a quiet story playing out across Canada right now. It doesn't make the nightly news, and it contradicts everything we think we know. We're told it's the promised land, a place of safety and opportunity. But if you look closely, a different pattern emerges. People are leaving, and they're not making a big fuss about it. Have you noticed it yet? A friend who suddenly moved abroad. A colleague who took a remote job and never came back. It's not a dramatic exodus. It's a slow, steady trickle. And that makes it more revealing. Because when people leave quietly, they're often leaving for good. So what's really happening? Let's be honest. The picture postcard is fraying at the edges. You know the one I mean. The pristine mountains, the friendly cities, the perfect life. For a long time, that image held true. But something has shifted. The cost of simply existing here has become a central fact of life. And I mean just existing. Paying rent, buying groceries, heating your home. These are not luxuries. They're becoming feats of endurance. Young professionals are doing the math. And the numbers don't add up anymore. They see their entire paycheck disappearing. They see a future of just keeping up. Is that the dream they were sold? For many, the answer is a quiet no. They don't stage protests. They update their LinkedIn profiles. They scan international job boards. And they make plans. It's a practical decision, not an emotional one. But it has profound effects. Look at the brain drain in certain sectors. Tech, finance, medicine. Talent is slipping away. And it's hard to blame them. Why struggle in a city like Vancouver or Toronto when your skills can buy a better life elsewhere? That's the calculation now. It's a global marketplace for talent. And Canada is losing its competitive edge. Housing isn't just expensive. It's become a statistical impossibility for a generation. What does that do to a person's commitment to a place? If you know you'll never own a home, what roots do you put down? You stay light on your feet. You remain ready to go. That mindset changes everything. It transforms citizens into temporary residents. And that's a fragile foundation for a country. The strange part is, we all see it. We talk about it over coffee, we complain about it online, but we treat it like bad weather, something to be endured. Not something that changes the course of a nation, but it does. But it's more than just money. There's a feeling in the air, a subtle change in mood. A sense of fatigue has set in. People are tired of the constant struggle for basics. They're tired of the long, dark winters without a clear payoff. And they're questioning the social contract. What are they getting for those high taxes? They look at crumbling healthcare systems. They sit in overcrowded emergency rooms for hours. They see long waits for family doctors and specialists. Access to care feels like a lottery. And for a country that prides itself on this, it's a quiet crisis. It chips away at your sense of security. If you can't rely on the system when you're sick, what can you rely on? This isn't a political statement. It's a daily reality for millions. And it pushes people to look for stability elsewhere. Then there's the pace of change, or the lack of it. Big problems are met with small, slow solutions. It creates a feeling of stagnation. You ever get that feeling that things are just stuck? That the same debates cycle endlessly without resolution? It leads to a kind of quiet disillusionment. People stop believing things will get better. And when hope for the future dims, leaving becomes a logical option. It's not an angry departure. It's a resigned one. They've simply run out of reasons to stay. And what about the smaller cities and towns? You'd think they'd be the refuge. But the issues have spread there too. Remote work drove up prices in once affordable places. Now, there are fewer and fewer havens left. The country feels smaller, more expensive, and less accommodating. So where are they going? The destinations are as varied as the people. Some head south to the United States for higher salaries. Others look to Europe for a different pace of life. Some are trying Australia or New Zealand. The common thread is a search for a better deal, a fairer exchange of their skills and labor for a decent quality of life. They want a chance to build savings, not just pay bills. They want to see a doctor within a week. They want to live in a home, not just rent a room. These aren't extravagant demands. They're the foundations of a middle-class life. And for a growing number, that foundation seems firmer somewhere else. The departure is often cloaked in neutral terms. They say they're going on an adventure or trying something new. They rarely say they're giving up on Canada, but actions speak louder than words. A one-way ticket is a powerful statement. The question isn't really why they're leaving, it's why would they stay? Let's talk about the silence around this. There's no national conversation about this quiet outflow. Why is that? Maybe it doesn't fit the story we tell ourselves. Acknowledging it feels like admitting failure, so we focus on immigration numbers instead. And yes, new people are arriving every day, drawn by that same postcard. But that's a different story. It doesn't cancel out the people slipping out the back door. Two things can be true at once. A country can grow in population and still lose its native-born talent. It can gain numbers and lose a certain kind of capital. The experience, the networks, the institutional knowledge that walks away. That's a loss you can't easily quantify. It's a slow leak of ambition. And it reshapes the character of a place. Think about your own circles. The most driven, ambitious people you know. Are they all planning to stay, or are they quietly looking at options? Ambition needs room to grow. It needs tangible rewards. When those rewards shrink, ambition looks for a new home. This creates a concerning cycle. The people who might fix the problems are the ones with the means to leave. So who gets left behind? And what happens to a society's drive? The mood isn't one of anger, like I said. It's closer to disappointment. A collective sigh. The promise was so bright, so real for so long. Now it feels like a promise that won't be kept. And a broken promise changes a relationship. It changes how people invest in a place, emotionally and financially. They hold back. They keep their options open. They don't plant those deep roots. This isn't just about economics anymore. It's about belonging. Can you belong to a place that feels like it's working against you? When every month is a budget puzzle. When getting help feels like a battle. That connection frays. People start to feel like tenants in their own country, just passing through. And that mindset is contagious. You hear one friend did well in Texas. You see another thriving in Portugal. It makes you wonder. It normalizes the idea of leaving. It becomes just another life choice, not a betrayal. The stigma is gone. So the trickle continues, week by week, month by month. A family here, a young professional there. They pack up their lives. They say their goodbyes, and they go. They often don't burn bridges. They keep their citizenship, of course, but their energy, their taxes, their daily lives are invested elsewhere. Canada becomes a memory, a summer visit, a backdrop on a Zoom call. This is how a country changes, not with a bang, but a whisper. So what does this mean for the future? If this quiet exit continues, what's left? We have to look at the numbers beneath the numbers, not just who's coming, but who's going and what they take with them. It's a demographic reshuffling with real consequences. Communities lose their volunteers, their coaches, their community leaders. The social fabric thins in subtle ways. The brain drain isn't an abstract concept. It's an empty chair at a local business meeting. It's a missing doctor in a rural clinic. It's a startup that gets founded in Berlin, not Montreal. The momentum shifts almost imperceptibly, year by year, and momentum is hard to get back. Think of it as a slow puncture. The car still runs for a while, but eventually you're going nowhere. Is that too dramatic? Maybe. But the signs are there if you choose to see them. And the question for Canada isn't about stopping people from leaving. You can't force people to stay. The question is about making them want to stay. And that requires a hard, honest look in the mirror. What is the value proposition now? What does Canada offer that you can't find anywhere else? The answers are getting fuzzier. The natural beauty is still there, of course, but you can't pay a mortgage with a mountain view. The safety and stability are still real. But if you're working remotely, you can find that in other places too. The brand is strong, but the product is being questioned. And in a world where remote work is permanent, geography is optional. Your career is no longer tied to your postal code. That changes everything. It turns every country into a competitor. So what's the tipping point? When does a trickle become a trend, and a trend become an identity? It's hard to say. These shifts happen below the surface until one day they break through. We might be in that silent subsurface phase right now. A country can look normal on the outside. The cities buzz. Construction cranes dot the skyline. But the internal compasses are shifting. People are making quiet, life-altering decisions. They're voting with their feet, and each departure makes the next one a little easier to consider. It becomes a path well worn by those who left before. The end of a country is rarely a sudden collapse. It's not borders closing or governments falling. It's something slower, softer. It's the gradual dimming of a shared dream. It's the quiet acceptance of a smaller future. It's the sound of one more family packing a shipping container, not with anger, but with a weary sort of hope for something better. And in that quiet hope, in that practical choice, a story is being written, one departure at a time.